All right, we are live. All right, hi everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are going to kick things off in about a minute or two. I'm just gonna give people the opportunity to enter the event and join. In the meantime, can you tell us where you're joining us from? All right, so we got San Diego, Brooklyn, more New York, Louisville, Kentucky. Oh, there's someone from Taiwan, Costa Rica. I love seeing a global audience when we have these events. St. Louis, North Carolina, Mexico City, Paris, Greece, London, Milan. Oh, I love it. Hi from Venezuela, Brazil, Tokyo. All right, so as people continue to roll in, I'll get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the Parsons Entrepreneur Academy Network series. So tonight we have this event that's sponsored by our first co-sponsor, Parsons Continuing and Professional Education. So thank you to them for collaborating with us on this webinar. My name's Carly Ann with the Parsons Entrepreneur Academy. And here we are always excited to have this opportunity to find and invite amazing and inspiring entrepreneurs and speakers to come in and share their expertise. For those of you who are new to our platform, the Parsons Entrepreneur Academy's mission is to empower creative entrepreneurs like yourselves with the skills that you need to build a sustainable business around your art. And we carry this out through our 3 pillars, which includes mentorship via our mentoring platform, training courses, and community via our network. You can find out more by visiting parsonsentrepreneur.com. And over the next couple of months, we'll continue hosting various webinars like this one, based on various business-related topics that are specifically tailored to you, the creative. Today's webinar, however, is going to teach you about social media advertising best practices and how to profitably grow your business on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be delivered by one of our esteemed mentors, Jake Mahoney. And during today's webinar, you will be provided with a link to a paid social campaign structure guide that Jake was kind enough to create and provide for us. So please look in the chat box right now for the link to that document. You can download that and review it after and use it to apply it to your own social media strategies. So the link is in the chat now. All right, so the way that this is gonna work is Jake is gonna come on. He's gonna present for 40 to 45 minutes, and that'll be followed by a 15 to 20 minute Q&A session. If you have any questions or as your questions come up during the webinar, please drop them in the Q&A section. You can find that Q&A box at the bottom of your screen on the bottom of the Zoom window. Leave your questions there. If you put your questions in the regular chat box, we won't address those. Put them in the Q&A box. Also in the Q&A box, there is a like button underneath the questions. So you're going to go in and like your favorite questions, and the questions that get the most likes or the questions that get upvoted will be the ones to get addressed first. So now I'd like to introduce Jake Mahoney. I've known Jake for a couple of years. He's awesome. He's worked with a lot of startups and entrepreneurs, and we're lucky to have him in our ecosystem as a mentor and partner. Jake has over 6 years of performance advertising and 100 million plus optimized ad spend on Facebook and Instagram. He currently works as the director of paid social at Power Digital, which is a boutique performance creative and media buying agency specializing in profitable social media advertising for e-commerce businesses. Jake's specialties include Facebook and Instagram advertising, customer acquisition, and lead generation campaigns. Now I'm going to hand it over to Jake, who will provide you with more insight on his experience, and he'll also dive right into the awesome content that he's prepared for you all today. All right, enjoy, everyone.
Thank you, Carly, and I'd like to thank everyone for joining me today. My name is Jake Mahoney, and pretty much for the last 6 years, I've spent them all optimizing and growing brands through Facebook and Instagram advertising. So without further ado, I'm going to share my presentation with you, and we have a lot to discuss, so let's get into it. Let's do it. Everyone sees my screen. Awesome. Let's go into present mode. Carly was kind enough to already go through this, but yeah, for the last pretty much 6 years, I've spent it mainly focused on Facebook and Instagram advertising. I used to do, email and affiliate and PPC, but when Facebook came out, it was really the first platform. When I say Facebook, I also mean Instagram advertising also, because within the platform, they're the same. But Facebook was really the first platform to ever create demand. And nothing else does it. When you look at the other very powerful advertising platforms, specifically Google or even something like Amazon, those are already intent-based. You already know what you want. So especially for up-and-coming brands or creatives or products, there's really no other platform out there that could really get your product to that right audience, and specifically someone who's really interested in your product and doesn't even know. So about 5-6 years ago, when Facebook came out, I started playing around with it, and I said, you know what, forget about everything else I know about advertising or all these other channels. Let me focus on this and become the best at this. And I think the part that I really loved and continue to love about Facebook advertising is it is very algorithmically driven, and a big part of that algorithm, we don't know a lot. It is a black box. So the main lever, and which is a big part of today's conversation, is creative. Facebook basically tells us, we know who the customer is, we know the best time to target them or advertise to them. It's your job just to give us that amazing story, and that to serve or to deliver to them. And that's what we're going to discuss today. So just again, yeah, I've pretty much managed a little bit, probably more at this point, about $100 million in ad spend. I am the director of paid social and growth at Power Digital Marketing, an amazing boutique agency that really focuses on performance marketing, not just for paid social or creative, but we have an amazing paid search, YouTube advertising. YouTube maybe will be another conversation. They're definitely up and coming. Email, SMS is a big part of what we do today, and definitely helps paid social advertising, SEO, and Amazon PPC. And who could forget influencer marketing? So we do everything. We do it in a performance type way. And just some recent projects I've worked on: Airflow Healthcare, Goldbelly, JustWorks, Running Glory, Every Mother, Harper Coats. As you get older in advertising, I think it's you start to niche down, and definitely I would like to say mom and baby is probably my favorite vertical. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about with you guys, especially for very young brands who are just starting out, is how to hire the right agency or freelancer. This is coming from someone I've been burned. I've been burned by everyone, big agencies, small agencies. We're definitely going to talk about that. So this is what this is the advice I give to everyone. This is the advice I would give to myself a few years ago, to a family member. So questions to ask if you're talking to, so let's start off with freelancers or growth marketers, whether you're going to hire that person in-house. These are the questions you should be asking. The most important question you should ask is, what is their track level of success? How many clients' businesses, right, have they single-handedly scaled, and to what extent? That's really the most, and go into it with that. And it's really helpful if the business that they worked on is related to yours. Sometimes the science behind growing one business can be used for another, but it's always good when there's commonalities there. But that's really the most important question you should ask. What is your track record of success? Were these partners focusing on growth, just like growth at all means, or being profitable on the first purchase or LTV? VC or private equity backed. And what that means is you have a lot of people claiming success today, growing companies, but they didn't have to be profitable, right? Or profitability was something that they focused on later on. So it's very different when you're growing a brand and you don't even have to look at customer acquisition costs. They can say, oh yeah, I grew this brand from X to Z, but did you make money on the first order or from a lifetime value perspective? So another very important question to ask, were you focused on profitability or just growth? Because it's two different games. And very important, if they formerly worked at a popular startup with a major exit. Again, find out, this is one thing I learned the hard way. There's two different types of people in this world. There are those who are steering a rocket ship of growth and those who are there along for the ride, right? So make sure you are working with the person who is driving that rocket ship versus the person who's just there along for the ride and taking credit. But if you can't get that person who was driving the rocket ship of scale, make sure they're at least leading the team and meeting with that person who's managing your account. So that's what I like to look for freelancers or growth marketers that you're going to hire in-house. On the agency side, you really first thing you want to know is, what is the average client duration rate? I've heard crazy numbers where the average client agency relationship is 70 days. So you definitely want to steer clear of that. And then another really important question to ask is, what is their employee retention rate? I remember in my early days as a digital marketing manager, I would just cycle through different account managers at these agencies. And that's a bad sign. You definitely want someone who's been at the company for a long time, who's been in that field for a long time, so you actually have, you can grow your relationship with them. The worst thing is every month there's a new account manager. So those are two very important questions there. Also, one of the most important questions to ask, how many accounts per account? So how many accounts is that account manager managing? So whoever's going to be working on your account, there could be multiple people, but you need to know. I would recommend anything above 4 to 5 is very problematic. It also depends where they are. A director could oversee a lot of accounts and actually be very productive and providing a lot of guidance. But when it comes to those who are really getting their hands dirty, like the analysts or the day-to-day account managers, I would say once you go above 5 accounts, 6 accounts, that's kind of pushing it. There's just not enough time in the day to really give your account the love and attention it deserves. Who will be managing my account, and can I speak to them prior? Absolutely. A lot of people that I'm onboarding or speaking to, they always ask, hey, can I talk to the media buyer? And I say, absolutely. And thank you for asking. So before you work with anyone on the agency side, ask them, who will be managing my account? And I would love to speak to them prior. And you could ask them these other questions that you have today. The other question you want to ask that person who's going to be working on your account is, how many years of experience does that person have, whether they're an analyst or a specialist, managing the platform that they've been hired to work on with you in that particular vertical. So again, if you're in the mom and baby or fashion, how many years experience do they have in that? And again, what is their track record of success? And this is no agency is going to answer this honestly, so you're going to have to ask others, but are they a set it and forget it, or are they a proactive agency? And traditionally, the biggest problem with a lot of agencies today is, one, they give way too many accounts per person, and they have very much a set it and forget it kind of mindset. They'll set up your campaigns and check it once a month. You want to work with someone, regardless of your budget, who's coming up, you're hiring an agency for their expertise. Right. So you want to make sure they're coming to you with ideas, whether it's weekly, biweekly, or monthly. Bottom line, you want someone who's proactive because you have other things to do. And then let's discuss content creators, producers, or editors. Whether you're going to hire, and this is, I should have labeled it, if you're going to hire them in-house. As I mentioned before, Facebook is pretty much a creative platform, right? So if you are going to hire a content creator, whether they're producer, editor, do they have direct response experience? Meaning, do they have experience producing footage or editing footage that will elicit action, right? When people scroll through it on Facebook or Instagram, will it get the user to stop scrolling? And basically a formula that, as we'll come to see, that kind of educate. The simple formula is problem solution testimonial. You really want to hire someone with that type of editing experience. I would say the difference between a great editor, an experienced editor, and a junior editor is the amount of feedback you got to give them. And that time can be very costly. And then also you want to know, do they have experience specifically editing footage or content for Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok? Because you have so many, listen, you have a lot of people with a lot of great experience, but they're not thinking in that. When someone scrolls, I got to get them to stop scrolling, right? And then I got to get them to digest this story that I want to tell them, click and buy. So that is how to hire the right agency or freelancer. Things to know. I know someone asked about iOS 14. We're going to get into it right here. Why Facebook and Instagram? Really, by far the most powerful advertising platform ever created. And I personally think they're probably still maybe 10 years ahead they're light years ahead of anyone else. And what Facebook did is really, it took our soul data, right? Our social data when we like something or we have a conversation with someone, and it combined it with our purchasing behavior. I don't think any other platform has ever done that. Traditionally, you have a lot of businesses or institutions with our buying behavior. Just think of a credit card company, but they don't know our social data, right? And Facebook's pretty much the first company to put that together. And what they're able to do is, and again, this is just my theory on it, but as you scroll, somehow the way they serve you the images or the ads and the time of day, they are creating demand for that product. I also believe Facebook knows when you're sad, when you're happy, and they know what type of product will make you happy. So while that might sound creepy, yeah, but it's good, it's effective, it works. The only thing Facebook, well, I'm gonna hold back, but what I was gonna say is, one thing that Facebook does, I know they get a lot of negative press, but really they service, I would say 9 out of 10 times they service very, very relevant ads compared to the other platforms. So that's how they change the game. They create demand versus a Google and Amazon that just fulfill it. As the targeting intent building algorithm continues to improve and evolve, Facebook is actually getting easier to use. I believe we're maybe a year or two away where they're just going to say, you don't have to do anything, but just upload your story, your video ad. Creative is everything, right? So we're in that direction, and that has a lot to do with iOS 14, which we'll get to. TikTok and Snapchat are catching up, specifically TikTok. They're not there yet, but I'm hearing a lot of brands are finding success on TikTok, and that's the one I'm very excited for. I do know right now, you can take content that is successful on TikTok and run it on Facebook and Instagram and also see success. But if you have a winning ad on Facebook and Instagram, to translate that success over to TikTok, you are going to have to play with it. You really want to create content very native to the platform. All right, so let's talk about iOS 14 app privacy update. For those of you who do not know, Apple launched a major update that will basically, you're going to start getting a prompt on your phone that says for every app, I believe, if you're going to allow that app to track you or not. So, what makes Facebook so effective are all these signals it's able to pick up, especially not just when you're on Facebook and Instagram, but when you're on all these other websites. So if people start opting out of that tracking, that provides less signals for Facebook to find your customer, right? Because that's what they do, right? When you go to a website and you buy something, Facebook basically sends that data back to the system. We're not unique. So Jake, he loves cycling. He just bought something. Let's look at our profile. Oh, there's 3 million people who are just like Jake. Let's serve them a similar ad. So Facebook's going to be losing that type of signals, but it's going to be over a long period. It's a slow rollout. As people opt in to iOS 14, the update, it's going to take some time. I would say 6+ months. Who knows? I could be wrong, but we're not going to feel the effects right away. What is Facebook doing about this? They're doing a lot. They're doing a lot more than any other platform. So there's something called, if you're a website that's using Shopify, I think Shopify is the best website for e-com. I'm pretty sure Zuck and the CEO of Shopify are on the phone every day because this privacy will also impact Shopify, right? Because it depends so much on Facebook ads. So there's direct integration now between Facebook's advertising platform and e-commerce platforms also. So and that connection will improve. I know we're going to in the future, there's not going to be any more cookies. So what I tell people, yeah, this is going to be difficult for growth and driving new customers, but Facebook's one of the smartest companies to ever exist, and it's their job to figure out, and they are figuring it out. So I'm not so worried. I do know app installs, which is not an area of expertise for me, will be more affected than others because that is way more reliant on the Facebook advertising industry and those signals. What this does mean, because there are less signals, is our account structures have to be as streamlined as possible. There's no room for error, and especially creatively. So the biggest effect is going to be when you look at your Facebook data of how your ads are performing. The data will go back 28 days. Used to go back 28 days. But now it's only going to go back 7 days. So usually products or services that are more expensive, that have a longer buying cycle, that are beyond 7 days, that is going to be impactful for them. I think for most of e-com, most sales happen within that 7-day window. Another thing, know your numbers, right? CAC, if you're starting a whatever business you're starting, know your customer acquisition cost or what you're willing to pay for that customer and still be profitable. What is the lifetime value? Shopify recharges so many tools now that if you are an e-commerce platform, they help you figure out these answers. Your customer acquisition to lifetime value ratio is very important. I have a great example. I was auditing an account and we ran their customer acquisition to lifetime value ratio, and they had a cost per acquisition goal of $50. But after realizing their customers were coming back 6 times per year, we could have spent $150 acquiring a customer profitably, and just completely increase growth by 200, 300, 400%. So it's really important to understand that. And then the other is to be very honest about your product and your business. Do you have an episodic relationship with your customer? That's it. They're just a one-time, they buy the product and they won't come back for a few years. If that's the case, you have to be profitable on the first order. Or if you really have a multi-purchase customer relationship where the customer will come back 2, 3, 4, 5 times a year. Again, if it's episodic, if it's a one-time, you're going to definitely have to be more aggressive with your relationship with Facebook advertising is going to be a lot more serious because you do have to be profitable on every order. There is no additional monies coming in. Versus if there is that multi-purchase, make sure your data is absolutely 1000% correct, or you're very confident in it, because when you don't want to leave anything on the table. Moving on. All right, campaign structure. This is huge. Again, I audit maybe 2, 3 accounts per week, and I'm still shocked at the way people set things up. I know this might look like a very scary looking screen. There's a lot here, but it's really, really simple. So this is how, now, the way you're going to set up Facebook ad campaigns or ad accounts, every business is different, but this pretty much structures just a great starting point and really works for most brands, especially scaling. So the way I like to structure it is basically, if you look at number 1 and 2 on the screen. Where's my mouse? I don't know where my mouse is. Okay, I can't find my mouse. Doesn't matter. If you look at 1 and 2, let's look at number 2 first. I like to have 2 prospecting campaigns, right? And prospecting is defined as a campaign in the Facebook advertising platform where we're going after new customers. And the way we make sure we're going after new customers is we need to exclude not just website visitors, people, because we're going to get them later. We're also going to exclude customers, website visitors, and there's something called the middle funnel that's really unique to Facebook and Instagram or any paid social platform today. And that is, if you're scrolling through Facebook and Instagram and you stop, right, and you see an interesting ad or and you watch the video, but you just stop, you don't even hit the heart, Facebook considers that engagement. Right. And you could retarget people who've had that. Also, if you watch the video ad, or if you've gone to the Instagram page or Facebook page, these are all very strong engagement metrics. I call this personally the middle funnel, right? Because they have not visited. You can exclude website visitors, right? So they're truly people who are in the middle. Another example of the way I like to explain it is, imagine you and a friend are watching TV, a commercial comes on, you have a conversation about that product. Traditionally, right, a brand never doesn't know you had that conversation. There was an engagement, there was interest there, and they couldn't do anything about it. Now we can, right? Someone stops scrolling and watches, even though they did not come and click and visit the website, we can retarget them. So going back to the prospecting, or what I call upper funnel, we have 2 campaigns, right? Number 2 is staging. This is where you're going to test all your new ads, right? And then number 1 is primary. Anytime you have a creative, an ad that is performing very well, you could introduce it to another campaign. You don't have to. I just like to do this because you want to create an ad account where no matter who it is in your business, they can come in, they can look at it and know exactly what's going on. You don't want to have to depend on anyone else. So again, we have 2 campaigns, one where you test all your creatives, and another one where you're taking your winners, just your winners, and you're putting them there for further scale. Now you're going to see ad set. Broad audience. What is a broad audience? Well, pretty much, traditionally in the early days of Facebook, it's all about targeting these, micro audiences or these interests. You don't have to anymore. The algorithm is so advanced that you just really need to exclude. What I tell people is build the audience, build your demographic into your creative. So if you want to target 35-year-old blonde men, make sure they're in your creative, right? And that algorithm will know to target them, because basically when you launch an ad, it serves it to a bunch of people, and those who show the most interest, then Facebook shows more too. So again, the algorithm already knows who's interested in your product. You just want to guide it in the right direction and build your demographic into your creative. So that's why pretty much, a lot of brands are still using what's called a lookalike audience. Basically, you could upload a list of customers, and Facebook will say, here are 2 million people or 10 million people who look just like them. I don't see a difference between the 1% lookalike or broad audience anymore. And 99% of the accounts I'm auditing today, the best performance is coming from broad. Just give the algorithm room to do its thing. Let's move on to any questions with that? Because it's a lot to take in. So I don't mind. Any questions with what I said? If you guys want to ask any questions on that, I just want to make sure you guys understand that there's 2 campaigns, one for testing creative and one for scaling creative. But even the testing campaign, if it's performing well, you're going to spend as much money on it as possible until there's diminishing returns. I recommend, if a brand is focused on profitable acquisition from the get-go, will it mean that growth will take longer? Yes, absolutely, but that's okay. That's not a bad thing. When you're focused on profitability from the very beginning, again, then you really need creative resources, because if you launch a story ad, a video ad, whatever it is, I call creative ads, and it doesn't do well, pause it, right? Don't waste your money. Don't keep it going. It's again, one of the brilliant things about the algorithm when it comes to testing is it'll give you answers very quickly. Sometimes just $100, $200, you get all your answers, which could also be a little bit diminishing when you've worked hard on an ad and it doesn't work after a day or two. So that's what I'm saying for those who really want to be profitable from the beginning. Expect to spend more money on editing your creatives than actual ad spend. That's the best advice I can give. What's a lookalike audience, or an LAL? A lookalike audience is basically, it's kind of the holy grail of Facebook. Let's say you have 1,000 customers who've bought in your products. You upload those email addresses into Facebook. Facebook studies them, already knows kind of who they are because they probably have Facebook accounts, right? It does like a VLOOKUP or a match, and then it gives you another list. It's a black box list. It's hashed. You don't know who's in it, but it'll say here are 2 million people who have the same buying behavior as them. Here are 2 million people likely to buy your product. I'd still recommend lookalikes also for testing. Again, it depends on the maturity of your ad account. If you're already spending a lot of money, over $5,000, $10,000 a month or even a day, you could test your new creatives to broad or a 1% lookalike. It really doesn't matter. Both work. I'm just seeing more success with broad audiences now, just across the board. Okay. Yes, by creatives, I mean the ad itself. that we create. How do you benchmark your price? So Glory, where that's a much longer question, but it's a good conversion rate, minimum 3%. That people who come to your website, you want them to convert. Okay, let's move on to the middle funnel. So in your Facebook ad account, you want to break out. It's very easily, like as you can see here, it says people who Facebook and Instagram engagers. You could go up to 365 days out, which is great. So you could break that audience out. As the algorithm progresses and gets a lot smarter, you don't need to. So I'll give you an example. Back in the day, I still kind of, depending on the business, break out this middle funnel. But let's say I didn't break out these people. So let's say I'm on Facebook or Instagram. I see a cool ad. I stop scrolling. I like it. Or let's say I stop scrolling and I don't visit the website, right? What's going to happen is Facebook's going to put me to the front of the line of our prospecting or upper funnel campaign. Right. But when you're spending a lot of money, sometimes the reason why I like to break out the middle funnel, because it does have a finite audience in it. So I know how much kind of to spend every day on it. I know how big, I know what the opportunity is. So you could break those out. And then another thing you could do, which is a strategy I'm really enjoying, is connecting your email marketing platform. Something like Klaviyo, which is unbelievable, plays very well with Facebook. So I'll give you an example. People who've opened up your email but did not click, you could take that audience and plug it into Facebook and target them on Facebook and Instagram. So that, and I call them in the middle because there's some engagement there, but it's not fully. They haven't visited your website. Let's talk about remarketing. Remarketing is amazing. Traditional advertising says that if someone comes to your website and doesn't buy within 3-4 days, it's over. Not with Facebook and Instagram. I've seen success up to 180 days. So basically, you want to break out your remarketing ad sets, if you will, or your audiences based on people who viewed and people who've added to cart. The more visitors you get, kind of the less you focus on viewed. But the way I like to start is pretty much you could do, let's say, people who viewed the last 30 days, right, but did not add to cart. That's one audience. Another audience is people who've added to cart the last 30 days. Another one is people who've added to cart the last 60, 90. You could go up to 180 days. Just make sure you exclude. As the algorithm gets smarter, right, you want the larger the audience, the better. So I used to segment these 30, 60. Now I just do like 90, right? 90-day add to cart and 30-day viewed did not add to cart. And then you see the performance. And then seasonality plays a big part of this. So usually during Q4 or your business's best season time of year, that's when you want to push that add to cart to 180 days and see how far out you can get away with viewed but did not add to cart. On the sheet, which section speaks to the test? Okay. Comments on Amazon effect. Amazon's absolutely phenomenal. Amazon ads, yeah, very, very good. Okay, let's discuss retention. Very important. Unfortunately, we do live in a time where we need to reacquire our customers. So, and Facebook and Instagram is absolutely great with that, especially if you're using something like Klaviyo as your email marketing platform, which is your email marketing is a huge part of your retention and extending that lifetime value. So depending on your business, here are 2 examples of how to break out a retention campaign. So traditional is you have active customers, people who've bought within the last 6 months. Idle customers, those who have not bought in 6 months, churn, they haven't bought in a year, and promo only. Some people you need to accept, some customers will only buy when you're on sale. That's okay. Exclude them from everything and only target them when you have a sale. So using an email marketing platform like Klaviyo, you can set up where it dynamically feeds people who are active, right, into this type of campaign, people who are idled and churn, and you could actually serve them specific ads to them. So, you know, they haven't purchased in 6 months. What do you want to say to them? You know, they're active or even a VIP customer. You can have some messaging just tailored to them. The other is more a product-based retention campaign over here. And this is an example I did for a sunglass company. So they sell, which I highly recommend, blue light sunglasses. So let's say, everyone who's bought a blue light glasses, let's target them with, it's summertime, with regular sunglasses, right? Maybe they only bought one, as we go to the office, now they could have one for home and office. Another great example is great. You bought yourself blue lens glasses for yourself. You might have children, right? We don't know if they have children. Actually, you can kind of figure out if they have children via the targeting. If you have a creative or an ad that is geared towards, hey, listen, your child is on his phone all day long, he also needs to protect their eyes, or maybe it's affecting their sleep. So that's a great way that you could use an email marketing software or even Shopify directly to extend the lifetime value of your customers. Very, very important. I would say I'm shocked that most of the ad accounts I audit are not taking advantage of retention. It's great, use your email marketing platform, but you could also use Facebook too. Another example are people who've not opened up your email in a long time. You could try targeting them through Facebook and Instagram. It's cheaper. Any question? What does exclusion column? Okay, what does an exclusion column mean? When you're setting up your Facebook campaigns, your audiences, let's say you're going after new customers, right? You want to exclude website visitors. You want to exclude your customers because you're going to get them in other campaigns. Sorry, I should have mentioned this sooner. Because every part of the funnel, whether it's prospecting, middle, or remarketing, is going to have its own KPIs like cost per acquisition or ROAS. It's also the middle, lower, and retention campaigns have a finite audience. Facebook will actually tell you how many people are in it. So you don't want to overspend. So that's why we like to break them up and exclude them accordingly. Okay. Oh, this is the most important part. All right, here we go. The holy grail, creative best practices. So to begin with, I'm going to walk you through a few formulas, whether you have an in-house creative team or you have an agency or you're just starting out or you're going to hire someone on Fiverr. This is just a simple formula for you guys to work on with them. So there's two formulas we're going to discuss, and they kind of are baked into each other. The most important part, and it's very important to look here, imagine this is a 20-second ad. So the first 3 seconds is everything when it comes to an ad on Facebook and Instagram. Versus TV, I have to get you to stop scrolling. Another thing is thumb stoppers. What image can I show? What voiceover can I say to get you to stop scrolling? This is also a big part of testing. So this is your visual or audible hook, the very first thing that the viewer hears or reads in the caption. Product is a hero. Please, please, please do not open up your video with a 3-second logo. It's got to be the product. You got to hit them hard. So if I use a lot of examples for skincare. If you're experiencing redness, have that be your opening. Have you tried every skincare and you're still experiencing redness? Let that be your opener. If your product solves multiple problems, do not try to stuff all the problems within the first few seconds. I'll tell you why. If you do that, the problem that you're solving for that resonates with me might show up in seconds number 5 or 7, and I'm not waiting for that. So if your product solves 5 different problems, that's 5 different videos. Let me reiterate on that. Let's say you have a video that's 20 seconds long. Seconds 4 to 20 can be exactly the same. That's usually the solution testimonial portion of the video. Play with the first 3 seconds. Again, if your product solves 5 different problems, that's 5 different videos. And let each problem that you solve be the opener. That's probably the best strategy you could do right now when it comes to testing. And this is great for finding, for messaging. This also, the carry on for this is you actually could expand market share this way. So you might think you only have one type of customer, but again, if your product solves 5 different problems, that's 5 different customers, that's 5 different cohorts, and that's your opportunity to expand your market share. So you can even, again, in a typical TV commercial, they're just going to stuff everything in a single 30-second slide. You're not going to hold their attention long enough. Any questions with that? I always have trouble explaining that one, and it's probably the most important advice I'm going to give you the entire presentation. Ask away. Let me know. Feel free to say, Jake, repeat that. Start over. It's okay. You won't hurt my feelings. Okay, no questions. Everyone got that. All right, awesome. Great. Love it. So the formula educate, right? This is where you're going to tell them something they didn't know or could be debunking a popular myth. Share your knowledge, right, and experience. and making somebody aware of the problem they didn't know they have. Then the demonstration, very important. Here's where you're going to show your product in use, a beauty regimen, cosmetic tutorial, accessories for fashion, and then inform. Inform is so important. You know, people don't want choices, honestly. They want to be more confident in the choices they make. I stole that quote from Professor Galloway, but it's very, very true. So in this portion, make them confident when they're purchasing or even when they're going into the store. And this is also where you're going to do the testimonials, proof, tell them what you want them to do. So again, the formula is educate, demonstrate, inform. And the last part is entertain. Entertaining, making an ad entertaining is the toughest part. It is the most impactful, but it's very difficult for content creators and editors. It's just hard sometimes to be funny and make, some products aren't funny. But when you think about, if you think about all your favorite commercials your whole life, they all made you laugh. So I left that out because it is the most difficult part. It does have like, right, the strongest memory, but it is so difficult. And to put pressure on someone to say, hey, make this creative entertaining is not realistic. So again, when it comes to your story, the most impact you're going to have is that opening 3 seconds. And the most, when it comes to iterations, which I'll give you an examples of, when it comes to, okay, your creative didn't work, I'm going to ask you to put the most impact on just editing the first 3 to 5 seconds. Again, usually the solution testimonial portion of your creative is fine. That's how you're going to have the biggest impact there. Next slide. Okay, this is just a simple version. So that, again, if you're working with, let's say you're working with a freelance content creator and editor, and you have to come up with the script, use this, just problem, solution, testimonial, right? You have the hook. What can you say to get them to stop scrolling? Problem, establish a problem or need. Making somebody aware of a problem they didn't know they have. I missed this. Don't be afraid to don't be mean, but don't be kind either. You want to hit them hard and focus on what hurts and why they need the product or service you offer. Right? So don't be mean about it, right? But definitely like let them know, hey, this is a problem. You have this problem. It's okay because I have the solution. Explain your unique solution that only you can offer, that's unfindable anywhere else in the marketplace other than you. Explain the major benefits of the product. And if the product has more than a few, test each one individually, right? So right? There's multiple problems that you're solving for, and there could be multiple solutions. Each one is its own video. People don't try to stuff everything into one video. And again, the advantage is you might be able to expand market share. And then testimonial, right? Proof from various sources and individuals must feel real. As you're going to see in all my example, user-generated content or stuff that looks user-generated or shot on an iPhone is everything today. So make sure you have a lot of that. You know, don't just take my word for it. Take a look at what our customers have to say about it. But don't do it in a kind of a cheesy as seen on TV commercial, which are amazing. The science there is second to none, but kind of like that. Yes, I'm going to give fitness studio social ad spend. So I have a lot of examples that are going to come up. All right, some creative frequently asked questions. How long should my ad be? Well, so there's no right answer here. I know the sweet spot for Facebook and Instagram is anywhere from 6 to 15 seconds. I also will say depends on how good your editor is. I believe, this is my own theory, Facebook wants very short-term form content, right? These ads to be around 6, 10, sometimes 15 seconds, because honestly, we are not, myself included, capable of creating ads that will keep someone entertained or engaged for more than 15 seconds. I think that's why they say it. But if you do have a great story, like sometimes you get caught watching ads on YouTube that are like a minute long. So that's usually just, it's an incredible story. That is not the norm. So just for testing, purposes, 6, 10 to 15 seconds. If you're creating your first video ad for conversion, we suggest aiming for 10 to 15 to 30 seconds. Mix, if you have additional content you'd like viewers to see, place it at the end of the ad. So again, the most impactful portion of is going to be your first 6 seconds probably. After that, you could just add all the fluff to the end. Some longer at 30 seconds to multiple minutes. Fitness, for example, fitness, I've noticed personally, dieting and fitness just gets away with long form type of videos where some other products don't need, you get what it does after like 10 seconds. I think a more complicated, more expensive can get away with a longer video. Perform well, but they hook attention from the start and give viewers compelling reason to keep watching. How often should I refresh my creative? Oh boy, here we go. I love this one. Okay. This answer really depends on your creative resources and bandwidth, whether it's an agency or in-house. Always be iterating. Always be coming up with new stories or new iterations of the creatives that are working. Early on, if you want to refresh or iterate until basically you don't stop tinkering with your ad until you reach your KPI, right? So if it's a $15 cost per acquisition or $30, you don't stop until the creative, because kind of that's the game we're playing today. Is that's kind of all I do all day is I edit stories until I create a version that gets someone to stop scrolling, watch, digest, click, and buy at a profitable cost per acquisition, right? So you don't stop. This is the tough part though. After creating an ad that's achieving your KPI goal, you might have to create more in order to scale. Sometimes one ad could be worth $5,000, $10,000 in ad spend profitably that you could spend on that ad. Sometimes you need more than one ad to get to 5, 10, 15, 30, $40,000 a day in ad spend or per month. So you can't stop. Furthermore, there's something called ad or format fatigue. Eventually, everyone's going to see your ad and it's going to die out, right? So the worst thing to happen is an ad starts to fatigue, performance starts to go down, and you don't have something to take its place. So always think that your ad, your amazing ad that's growing your business or ad, is gonna fatigue tomorrow. It's a horrible feeling. It's something that we live with, but have that mindset. Right. The last thing you want to happen is your top performing creative that your business is built on starts fatigue and you don't have a backup to take its place in the ad account tanks. I've seen this many times. Very scary, and it happens more often than you think. Always be testing and iterating. All right, let's see. Let's move on. This is my favorite part. So what I'm going to walk you through right now are some of my top performing creatives across multiple verticals. I'm going to probably have to refix the screen here. So let's go there. 1 second. Here we go. And this was developed by the team at Power Digital, really an incredible group of content creators and editors. So this is really what kind of makes us special is we are kind of like a fire hose of data-driven creative. So any ad you see here, it's not just something that looks pretty. It's a creative that is achieving our partners, an account we're working on, their KPI. And not only did, and you could see at the top, we've labeled a type of way of editing. It's one way I want you guys to all think about footage or creating content today is when you produce footage, right? You produce a story. What you're going to see here are different ways to edit that story, different ways to tell that story. And they're all labeled at the top, and we're going to go through some of my favorite ones. And these are all data-driven. Not only has this, let's call it a format, like memes is a type of format. Not only has it, in order for a creative that you see here today to get on this top performance playbook, not only does it have to achieve our partner's KPI, that type of edit has to work for more than one partner of ours. That's how we know we've created an edit, a story format that's working. So let's go through some of those today. And you're going to see a lot of themes. Probably the most important one, you're going to see a lot of text overlay, product overlay, where you have maybe even a static image, but a product shows up. But mostly you're going to see a lot of UGC, and I'll tell you, user-generated content. And this is my theory behind it. The best form of advertising is word of mouth. That's never going to go away. I believe the unboxing video is a form of word of mouth advertising, and that's why it works so well, because you know the product that they receive is the product that you are going to receive. That's my theory. So this is a wonderful creative we did for Love Every. Love Every is a children's sensory toy brand. Right, the algorithm knows you gave birth. That's a given. I'm not even freaked out by that. And how old your baby is, right? So you're scrolling through your feed. Memes traditionally are a very high engagement, low conversion type of content. And the team at Power Digital and we got together, we're like, how do we take this cultural phenomenon and make it profitable? Well, it was as simple as, wasn't as simple, but we made it a video. We made sure it's going to get the user to stop scrolling. We're going to make it a video, and we're going to just do something as simple as a product overlay. So this is something you guys can do so easily at home for the mom and baby vertical. So let's take a look.
You go ahead, pull it out.
right? So you imagine a mother, she's scrolling, she sees, an adorable baby, she's going to stop scrolling. And then, oh, the sensor months, what are the sensor months? And naturally, hey, can my baby do that? If my baby cannot do that, this is a great product to do that. But just simple as that little product overlay, there's so much you can do. If you sell multiple products, you could display multiple products. You could play with the messaging, right? It could be the sensor months, 5 to 6, or the next phase of the journey from 9 to 12 months. You could just take this one image and play with the overlays until you have a profitable version. So you could do this with a video, or you could be a static image where you just include the product overlay. Very effective for testing. And this is one of my other favorites that we did, actual footage of when your Wink order arrives. Little extreme, but it works. Right? Wine for all occasions. So again, very quick way to take a great image and make it direct response. Right, this was kind of more mission driven. If you are very mission driven, this is just a cool way of doing it. This is the beginning of when COVID hit. The founders went into, had to start doing picking and packing, and we kind of shared this type of format, and it worked really well. Handwritten notes, people, are great across the board. And my theory is you think your friend just posted something. It's very organic. It gets someone to stop scrolling. It's very intimate. I don't know if you ever scrolling and you actually see a note, right? You're always going to stop to read it. So this plays upon that format. Just make it direct response. It could be a note, right, with the product overlay on top of it. One thing that the team is very proud of, and I'm very proud of them, is challenge ads. Men don't buy anything. Men only make up 20% of buyers on Facebook and Instagram. So I feel like you got to challenge them, right? Make it a challenge for them to buy it. So this was a successful ad we did for Keeps, regrow your hair. This is also an interesting way to get around Facebook's rule of before and after. If you launch a before and after ad, it will never go live. Facebook, be careful. Facebook will disapprove it. And if you do it enough times, they will disable your ad account. So be very careful there. And then, as I mentioned before in our formula, this is just problem solution creative. Please confirm that you guys can hear the audio.
Did you know clothing production is responsible for 10% of carbon emissions? At Goodfair, we're aiming to change that. Instead, we save pre-loved clothes from harming our planet. Bundle them into cool collections.
So that was for Goodfair, which is an online thrift store using a lot of emojis, but it's a problem solution. Honestly, this ad's a little too long, but it did well. Let's go to kind of more influencer review. Actually, no, let's go to live action. If you have a product, right, where there's a kind of an educational component to it, build that educational component, that learning experience, or that landing page into the creative. So this is K-Health, they're an incredible telehealth service. And we knew this ad ran at the beginning of COVID when a lot of people needed health services and they were using their phones to get that. We built the entire experience on the phone, within the ad. So when they got to the website, they knew everything they needed to do. I also call that a user flow. So if your website has a flow, a user journey that people go through, show it to them in the creative so they know exactly what's going to go on. Us versus them, one of the most successful editing you could do, just comparing yourself to a competitor. Alpha Brain, great product, just showing the price. This usually works best for price. I'm going to call it out. I have not seen it work as well for ingredients, which is a big play. As we know, clean beauty is a huge, so it works okay for clean beauty. Overall, when you're going us versus them, price is the ultimate. Don't do this, right? Educating people, just, hey, don't do this. For those of you who are already seeing, this is just kind of, you could create TikTok style content for Facebook and Instagram. And this is an example of that. Right, the clicking is big on it. Make sure you have your overlays. Let's move on to one of my favorite and most successful. Grids. This little grid over here. It's just I've seen it work across almost all verticals. It's a great way to show multiple products in different ways. Also, it has one of the best thumb scrolling, thumb stopper rates I've seen. of all type of ad formats. So this is just an example of what we call a grid reveal, right? It's a grid with a video. So you're revealing all the unique selling propositions of the brands and the products. Again, if you have multiple SKUs, if you have a product in multiple colors, it's just a really fun way of doing it. Here's another example where the unique selling where we have the unique selling proposition going across the middle. Yeah, it works great for fashion, just across. I love the grid. I know it may not seem like rocket science, but what you need to do and figure out is the different versions of the grid that could work well for you, because it's endless the way you could edit this type of grid format. Let's move on. If you do have some, this one is a little higher quality type of editing, but it's a montage, right? So if you, I'm going to tell you, Jay, can you repeat that? Aisha, I don't know what you want me to repeat. I feel bad. What do you want me? I am a painter. Okay. So I'm going to go through those questions in a sec. This required a little bit more. So you'd be surprised today. You might thinking, a lot of this footage you can get is from your customers one is from your customers, right? When you think of all this, oh, this looks so expensive. It's not expensive. All you need to get great footage is someone who's comfortable on camera and loves your product. That's it. And give them a little bit of a script, right? The problem solution, right? And let them do their thing. The editor is finding the good editor is the tougher part. But if you do have a good editor, what works great are montages, hype videos. And this is a great example. Paint Your Life is an incredible brand. You send them a picture and they send a painting of it. And this is what we did for them.
Don't look at it.
Very emotional product.
Okay, go.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
We never had a chance to have the moment, so we found a way to create it.
If your emotional products are phenomenal, work phenomenal on Facebook and Instagram. Don't be afraid to be emotional. I love those type of products. I cry at all those ads. I had to stop reviewing them. Let's go through, I don't know how we're doing on time, but unboxing videos. Let me give you one of my favorite examples of an unboxing video. It's called Point of View, right? So this is what we did for Listen Lively, and they're a wonderful hearing aid company.
You have to check out my new Lively hearing aids. I bought Lively's rechargeable bundle and it's exactly what I was looking for. Buying hearing aids with Lively has been so easy. To start, I took a free hearing test on their website. It's doctor certified and so quick. They were delivered in just 2 days. The hearing aids came pre-programmed based on my needs, so they work right out of the box. I scheduled an orientation with one of Lively's audiologists and they walked me through my bundle. If I ever need adjustments or have any questions, they're
just a great example of this is more high level user generated content, but something that you're definitely, you guys can do with a little bit of thought process. Just something to think about. This had a male voiceover. A great test that we're doing today is male and female, because there is no gender, if you will, in this video, right? Maybe men, because it's a male voiceover, the algorithm's going to focus on men. So if we want to make sure this ad is delivered towards women, you could do a female voiceover. Also, so much so you could use seniors, right? If you want to target those over the age of 65, whatever it is, use a senior male and a senior female. And that's, again, ways of guiding the algorithm into different directions or guiding them to your audience. Just a few more fun ads to share that I think are really important. I know for education, someone mentioned, what about for education? I call this the science explainer. So if you are going to explain a difficult concept or whatever it is, have someone of authority. But the most important thing you can do is provide visuals for everything that's coming out of the person's mouth. People don't read anymore. On an ad, you have the overlays, right? With big, they'll read that, but in general, people don't read, right? So provide visuals for everything that you want them to understand and digest. So here's a great example that we did for Keeps.
Hair loss can be very devastating to a lot of individuals. And so the earlier you start treatment, the better the chances of success. There are many causes for hair loss, and therefore it's important that one interface with a licensed physician to help prevent further loss.
Love that. Another format I'm really proud of the team are fake billboards, right? Those work really well. They have like this authority, nostalgic look. Oh, I know, if anyone from New York City, you're going to recognize that. Let's see what other formats. Okay, so there's that. Now I want to show you kind of how to do a really good test. Oh, whoops, got ahead of myself. This is a great test we did for Good Fair, one of our great partners. So when you're working with, whether it's an agency or a freelance or in-house, test a batch of creative. So here's an example of a grid batch that we did. Here's what we wanted to understand which version will work best. So we have this static, right, grid ad that has unique selling propositions there. This is what we call the grid reveal, which I showed you earlier. Then we have what I call the creepy hand version. This actually really gets people to stop scrolling. If you look over there, right? Imagine you see kind of that hand across your screen. And then this one's just a heavy text version. So it's so easy in Facebook and Instagram to test a batch. And this is how you test, and this is how you're gonna grow your business, by testing these different formats. And when one type of format works, right, that is achieving your KPI, like this one was the winner, you just start spending more money on it. You're like, all right. So then what would be round two for something like this? So we know this grid works really well. We know that people like seeing the unique selling propositions around it. For the next test, let's test different sweaters, right? And that's a further iteration. A very important iteration that we wanted to kind of get the answer for was, especially during COVID, where it's a lot harder to film or produce content, but in general, what works better? Someone in their bedroom or a studio ad? So with these two creative, this is for Hydrant. It's a wonderful hydration mix brand. I'm actually drinking some right now. So the test was, what's gonna work better? Someone telling the brand story, the product story in their bedroom or at a studio? So let me show you both versions. Same science, same formula, same actor, actors wearing even the same color clothing.
I just got my hydrant in the mail. It comes every month, and it is this amazing hydration mix that was recommended to me by my friends from bar class, and I have been obsessed. I'm a pretty active person.
And then the same thing.
Hi, my name is Julie, and I've been drinking Hydrant for about a year now. Hydrant is a hydrating mix that tastes great. It works by maximizing the hydration benefits of water.
And I'm sure you can, if you haven't already guessed, the home version worked. I even think the messier the bedroom in the background, the more authentic it feels. So again, this is how you want your team providing you batches, whoever you're working with. You don't want to just test one creative, because it's so easy and cheap kind of, or inexpensive to test. You at least want to be testing at least 5 different versions of something, 5, 6. If you have really great creative resources, just create as many as you want. Facebook has a type of testing format where you could upload up to 10 creatives, and it dynamically serves them. So that really has brought down the testing, the cost of testing. And then what happens when you have a winning creative? Remember I mentioned before, when you have one, you got to keep iterating. You can't stop. So I'll give you an example of what to do there. So Goldbelly, which is one of the coolest companies out there, I highly recommend you go check out their website. You can get really hungry afterwards. They're a shop that goes into America's favorite restaurants and basically teaches them how to ship it across America. Incredible company. So basically, we created unboxing videos of some of their top performing or best sellers, right? This is Gino's deep dish pizza, a muffaletta. It's a type of a delicious sandwich from New Orleans, New York bagels. And I'm just going to show you the Gino's pizza one. Pretty much same science across the board.
My deep dish pizza just got here from Chicago. I haven't had actual pizza in so long. This is going to be so good. Oh, look at the cheese.
So once this was determined a winner, right, we took it, and remember all those other versions I just showed you on the Top Performers Playbook? We started playing with it like that. So we took that video and we made a grid video, right? Imagine you're scrolling through your feed. You might not know by this thumbnail alone that you could get Gino's pizza delivered to you from Detroit, right? Sorry, from Chicago. But by having these images on the side, oh, pizza, delivery from Chicago. And then so we took that, and another iteration of it in order for us to extend the value of the creative and grow the business is we started using it for the best game day foods, right? And then for a discount. We started using it later in the year when we have our rare sale. So that's kind of what you're going to do. Once you have a story that's working well, try telling it in a different way. Sometimes it could be the same exact story, you're just adding different graphics to it to extend that lifetime value of that creative and grow your business. Nice. All right, let me go to the original. So that's kind of the creative playbook. And, hopefully whoever you work with kind of has a play, let me say this about this creative playbook. It's not finite. It's an amazing playbook, but usually what ends up working for the accounts that I work on or any is kind of a combination of what you see, an evolution of that. So make sure whoever you work with has a great playbook for you to start with. I think, I'm not going to lie, the success, the reason we've been able to get to this, and whoever you work with, make sure they have this type of culture, is whenever there's a winning creative within Power Digital or in my advertising community, we share it, right? And we study it. And most importantly, we know it's profitable for that partner. So kind of what I have access to, and make sure whoever you're working with has access to, is pretty much a fire hose of data-driven creative, right? Because there's something called the Facebook ad library, which you can go to and look up your competitors' creatives, but you don't know if they're profitable or not. So it's important that you have access to a data-driven, fire hose of creative information. This ad has worked, right? Or this type of way of editing not only was profitable for this partner, but it was profitable for multiple partners. So that's something to be very, very conscious of. And then kind of the last slide before we get into questions, right? Just a lot of people ask me, what are the dimensions? So what's really cool about Facebook today is you have the two most important placements, right? It's the newsfeed and then Instagram stories. The newsfeed is still the major one, right? Now Facebook actually allows you to upload within the Facebook ad manager. You could upload the same video ad, but you could upload it in two dimensions, one for the newsfeed and one for Instagram stories. So, and I highly recommend you do that. So the newsfeed is 4x5 and for stories is 9x16. This way your creative looks great. If you're ever looking at Instagram stories and you see the borders up top, that's because that's a 4x5, right? So now we have the option of making sure our ads look great on newsfeed and specifically Instagram stories. All right, that's that for now. I think it's time for some Q&A. I think Carly, if you want to join in and or you just want me to have a lot of questions here. I don't know which ones to go for.
Hey, Jake, we can start with, so we've been using the upvoting function today. So if you scroll to the top of the Q&A box, you'll see the ones that have the most likes at the top, and we'll start with those and work our way down.
Awesome.
And,
okay.
We'll cross out the questions as you answer them on the back end.
Oh, so like suggestions on best bang for buck IG ads. Suggest on best bang for or Facebook or Instagram. Very smooth. The best is just use the iPhone. Use your iPhone or a DSLR. First thing, take a step back, write a small script about the product or service, problem, solution, testimonial, right? And then tell your story. And then maybe find someone either locally on LinkedIn or even Fiverr to edit the footage, right? Unless, honestly, kids are such good editors today, right? So just find someone and make sure it's edited in that type of format. It shouldn't cost. The footage lots of times is very inexpensive. Or to have someone who's a big fan of your product or service and have them tell their story with it. It's going to be even more authentic. Just have a good editor to take whatever, let's say it's a minute of footage, and cut it down to a 6 seconds, 10-second, and 15-second version. Hi, I'm a retired designer and the CEO of a startup, GolfWorks. I design my own ads and would like to know what are good catchwords to include in ads to get people's attention. There is no one fits all. Actually, there is one. Hold on. Life-changing. Life-changing is one I kind of abuse of. But again, focus on the problem, right? Mention whatever the problem you are solving for. Call it out within the first 2-3 seconds of the ad. For fashion retail with a brick and mortar and e-commerce just starting, is it better for me to learn to use social media platform ads? It's okay. So this person's asking a great question because, Facebook and Instagram advertising is going to generate the majority of your e-com business. Should I focus on that myself or hire an agency? If you have the money to go with an agency, definitely do it. Just focus on those hiring practices that I went with, right? That I told you about them. If you don't have the money for an agency right away, Facebook ads is not that hard to learn. You definitely have the playbook that I shared with you. There's also something called the Facebook Blueprint, which is Facebook's own learning tool, which is absolutely phenomenal. Again, if you don't have the money for an agency, whatever money you do have, just focus it on creating that great story, right? That great video ad or static image, and just upload it to Facebook. If the product is awesome, and right, people are going to start buying. They're going to come to your website and start buying. And then from there, your business will grow. And then you could hire someone better to basically optimize your ad account. But really focus on that amazing video ad, and it's going to do everything. The algorithm knows who your customer is. It's going to do everything for you. Here, I'll give you I have one example. Was I worked on an account where they didn't do any exclusions, right? They just, no audiences. They just uploaded the creative and it did phenomenal. So if you really aren't the type where you don't have the money to hire an agency and you don't feel like learning Facebook and Instagram ads, you still have to focus on creating that great ad and just upload it, make sure it's going to the right product page, and hopefully that works. Okay, next question. Tips on making creative engaging and likely to be shared. Again, all products or services have a great engaging story, right? Just focus on the problem, solution, testimonial, and make sure your footage and your editing, your final product has that. Most importantly, focus on that first 2-3 seconds. Would you stop scrolling? Right? Kind of ask yourself that. And then that's the most important aspect of editing and curating something that's engaging. Yes, I've seen, I love Social Dilemma. Oh, it's nothing we didn't already know. It's all very true. I'm trying to think if there's anything that stood out in that. No, it didn't focus more on the advertising side. I think it's more of the creepy part of Social Dilemma are these social platforms pre-programmed or reprogramming our brains? That's freaky and that's very dangerous for children. But in terms of growing your business and serving relevant ads, Facebook's absolutely amazing. There's nothing close to it. So nothing wrong there. I think the other implications of social media, watching everyone live these great lives. Yeah, that's something else. That has nothing to do with the advertising platform. So yeah, are video ads your preferences? No, they're not. Every ad account is different. Sorry. I've seen ad accounts thrive on just static images, others video. It depends. You want to test both. Usually when you're shooting footage, even video, you can take screenshots, and those are great ways to use to test static images. But every business is different. It's important to test both, and whichever is the winner, just double down on that format, whether static or video. Any example of non-product event driven? No, I don't do any. I'm not an event marketer. Also, sorry, very important if you're going to hire someone. As people get older, we tend to niche down. So for example, if you're selling insurance, hire a digital marketer or agency that focuses on insurance, focuses on pharmaceuticals. I don't do supplements, right? There are people who are amazing, who dedicate their whole lives at becoming awesome at selling supplements online. That's not me. I was put on this earth to sell a mom and baby and nursing and maternity. So unfortunately, I don't. And event space, there are agencies and individuals who just focus on creating great content and growing businesses for events. So go after that specialist, find that specialist. Any advice for individual artists to grow lists, increase following, and sell paintings? Ooh. Good one. You could also use Facebook to build your email marketing list. That just happens organically when people come up to your website. If you have a great offer, they're going to opt into your email list. SMS is also amazing. So definitely, I know it's a lot more expensive, but it works very well. People don't check their email. They're going to check every SMS message that they get. To advice for an artist, I think you're gonna have to do, I think your ads, definitely Facebook ads is a test for you, but I think art's a lot different. I think it's finding other handles that people follow for art and getting your art listed there. I think that's more of that's how I would start it, unless you have some really amazing prints that you could just create. Hey, I'll ship this to you. That could also work. But I think it's dual. It's Facebook ads and just reaching out to all those other accounts just pretty much your community of other artists and painters on the platform. And you'll take someone else's painting and post it to your followers, and they'll do the same. Curious to hear your thoughts on the new Apple policy. So I mentioned this earlier. Listen, Facebook's going to lose signals because of that update, but it's going to take a while. It's not going to happen overnight. But think, where else am I going to put my advertising dollars? There's still no one close to Facebook and Instagram, number one. Number two, Facebook is putting more resources into fixing this issue to the best of their ability versus the others, versus TikTok and Snapchat. Obviously, they have the most to lose. There could be some advantages, right? So some brands, right, or verticals may not find Facebook effective anymore, and they'll leave the auction, bringing down CPMs. Someone asked about CPMs. All right, what's the current average CPM for every product and service is different. I would say I like to see if I'm looking at an ad account and I see $15 to $20 CPMs, I'm good. I start to get a little nervous for prospecting when it's like 30 and above. Like, for example, I usually, here, let me explain how kind of CPM works. Facebook charges, every time your ad is served 1,000 times, it charges you based off the value of that audience. So one of the reasons I don't do supplements is because the CPMs are like $50, $60. And the reason why is, think about it. Someone who's willing to buy supplements, which are usually expensive, $30 to $50, $60 impulsively, that's a very valuable person. That's a very valuable audience, an audience that everyone wants to get in front of. So Facebook charges a very high premium to get in front of them, which makes it very difficult to be successful because you're spending a lot of money to get in front of less people. Whereas some other products, you might have a $10 CPM or $15 CPM where you're able to get in front of a lot of people for not that much money. For new startups that don't have large budgets, $500 to $1,000, what ad funnel will best serve for testing? I don't know. I would, again, any brand, without knowing more of your business, I would say Facebook and Instagram. But you could sometimes, again, I don't know your business. Amazon's also amazing. Sometimes I tell people, prove your product on Amazon first and then go to Facebook and Instagram. So it depends. To iterate, the algorithm already knows who to target, and we do not have to put inputs. No, just exclude. So again, going back to the broad audience, just exclude website visitors and customers. That's it. That's kind of also I say that make sure you're representing your audience or your ideal customer in the creative, an individual. So I'll give you an example for beauty. A lot of beauty brands complain they only have one type of customer. You look at the creative, there's only one type of demographic. So make sure you have all different types of cultures and demographics in your creative. And that's a way to guide the algorithm to these different audiences or these different demographics. Why does LG, I don't know what LG engagement go down? Instagram, is it because of bots or shadow banning? How do I get rid of fake followers? I don't know. I followed one art account, and my God, all I get are drug dealers, honestly, trying to sell me weed on Instagram. It's absolutely crazy. Just by following one account, I don't have an answer for that, for the bots, man. It's wild. Can you give us an example of creatives that hit all of these things in 20 seconds? Yeah, let's go back. Let me go back to sharing my screen and I'll go through it. Give me one sec. So a lot of examples that we have here. I think that one, the POV, the unboxing for the hearing aid company, Listen Lively, was a great example of that. But let's find, let me find another one. This one is for Vessi sneakers, and we wanted to show the waterproof power of it. More lifestyle. Actually, you know what? That's a bad example, even though that did really well. One that has pretty much all of it in it. This is one of my favorite. Athletic Brewing. It's a non-alcoholic IPA. This is the wrong ad. Where is it? It's over here. So this is an ad that pretty much has all of it. So I got to click. I don't know. Let me just make sure it's showing my entire screen. 1 second. Share screen, entire screen. Yes, perfect. This ad has everything.
I just got my first 6 packs from Athletic Brewing. I'm very active and I don't want a hangover to slow me down. So when I heard about this craft non-alcoholic beer that tastes great, I had to give it a shot. I ordered 2 so I could take advantage of the free shipping.
Also, that's a big part of it. You heard how it says I ordered 2 so I could activate the free shipping. Sometimes if you need to extend or increase your AOV, try to accomplish that within your creative. Hey, buy 3, get 1 free. You know what I mean? There's different ways. Or buy over 50, spend over 75 and get, you know, whatever it is, an extra $25. But point being, use the creative to try to increase your AOV. Great example here was buy 2 to activate the free shipping, and you're more profitable that way. So that ad to me has absolutely everything in it. And it doesn't even have any overlays or anything like that, like some of the other ads do. It's a very clean looking one, but hits all the points. Athletic Brewing, definitely check out a lot of their ads. They're really great. Any advice, tips for nonprofit education, job training, looking to start? Any advice for nonprofit? I know I might sound like a broken record at this point, but it's problem solution. What problem are you solving? That's it. Hey, you'd be surprised. You know, a lot of people who are looking for a solution to the problem that you're solving. So just always focus on that. Education. Also, you're going to want to talk more about the benefits. But again, the problem, again, going back, it's without going into too much detail, it's problem solution, job training. You know, that's a great one. Want to increase your income. Are you looking for a side hustle? Hey, are you looking for a side hustle or looking to increase your income? Well, you know, increase your education and then go into your solution. Should you start using ads right at the beginning or when you know you already have a decent customer? Right at the beginning? Got nothing to lose. Also, it's so cheap. So here, this is one thing that's very important to know. How much should I spend, right, per day? If let's say your product costs $100, right, and you're willing to spend $50 to acquire a customer, right? So your customer acquisition goal or cost that you're willing to spend is $50, then you're going to want to spend about $150 to $200 a day. Facebook says you should spend 10x your CPA goal or CAC goal. I think that's a little extreme, though they're not wrong. I think you could do anywhere from 3 to 4x your CPA goal. So again, if what should my testing budget be? You want to spend, if the product, let's say you're willing to spend $50 acquiring a customer, spend $150 a day, $150 to $200. Give the algorithm room to explore. If you only do $50, don't expect more than 1 customer a day. And even then, you're not giving it enough money to get out there. And also, it's an auction system, right? So you want to make sure you're competitive. As Facebook makes headlines after headline, will this affect ad success? Is Facebook sustainable? I hope so. Again, there's nothing like it. There's nothing close to it. So a lot of people, as I always say, Facebook has a PR problem, not a business problem. So a lot of people are, so many businesses are built on Facebook ads. One of the pressure, so with that, it's like, we really don't want Facebook to go away from a economic perspective, but then at the same time, one of the stresses and pressures I deal with as a media buyer is, so many businesses are completely built on Facebook ads. I mean, 90% of their customers are coming from Facebook ads. And when Facebook has a bad 2-3 months, people lose their jobs. But the point being, that's the type of impact Facebook has had on the economy, on Shopify. Without Facebook, there's no Shopify. We all have an interest in making sure Facebook's around. Yeah, there's certain things that they have to fix. But from an advertising platform point of view, they're amazing and we need them. How do you determine CAC? There's a great, email me. There's a great article I need to send you. It's all based off of your own unit economics and your contribution margins. Google contribution margins. There's a lot of articles on contribution margins, and that will help you determine what your customer acquisition. But it's usually, let's say you have $50 profit on a $100 item that you're selling. How much of that $50 profit are you willing to spend to acquire a customer? How should ads done by artists look? I'm a painter. I don't understand that question. How should ads done by an artist look? Okay. I hope I'm not. I understand you're an artist and you want to represent your artistic aesthetics, but it also has to be direct response. So just do your thing, represent yourself in your product, but make sure it has that formula of educate, demonstrate, inform, entertain, or problem, solution, testimonial. Sorry, get them to stop scrolling. Product solution testimonial, right? I don't care how beautiful your ad is. If it doesn't have that formula, you won't be successful. I just want to close. My biggest battle as a media buyer and content director is working with other art directors. Or other founders. They're very emotional about how the creative looks. I'm not emotional. I just want to hit your KPI, your cost per acquisition goal, so I could grow your business. So sometimes your brand aesthetic has to take a little bit of a back seat to that direct response formula.
Hey, hi, I'm just gonna interrupt for a second, Jake, because I know some people might have to hop off because we're running over time a little bit, but
I'm sorry.
No worries. I love it. There's a lot of questions and engagement and excitement, but for everyone who's watching, I've seen people are loving you, Jake. If you all want some one-on-one time with Jake, you can book a session with him on our mentoring platform. The information is being put in the chat. So for a limited time, you have until Saturday, May 8th at 11:59 p.m. to book a session with Jake and get a 20% discount off of a mentoring session that's booked with him before May 8th. So just enter the code Instagram when you go to book a session with Jake, and you'll get that 20% off. Again, that expires on Saturday, May 8th at 11:59 p.m. So if you want to get time with Jake, highly recommend it. All of the information is there in the chat. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
If you have some time, if you want to continue answering a couple more questions before we go, feel free to do so.
Yeah. Oh, we have more time?
Yeah, we have a few minutes left. You can.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, listen, I can talk about.
But I just wanted to make sure that people were aware that they can book time with you and they can get 20% off. So
thank you, and thank you for having me, Parsons, Carly, and Chelsea. Couldn't have done this without you.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Let me pull up the question thing here, Q&A. Okay, let's go back to the top. I saw just by someone said Wix. Stay away from Wix. If it's e-commerce, stay away from Wix. Shopify. Anyone tries to sell you anything but Shopify, run the other way when it comes to e-commerce. Trust me. I know some of you are like, oh, someone sold me something else. I know. Just Shopify's everything. It plays so well with the email marketing and SMS and Facebook. Okay, I want more brand awareness, but I have nothing to sell. What do you mean you don't have you want more brand awareness for what? Then yeah, still tell your story. You can still use ads to tell your story. You don't need brand what makes Facebook so powerful is okay. Facebook has different advertising options. So I'll give you an example. Facebook puts us all into pretty much 4 different buckets. You are a viewer, right? Sorry, or you're a scroller. You just scroll. You don't click, you don't buy, you just scroll. My dad's a huge scroller. Me, the other group is clickers. I'm a big clicker. I click everything, I don't buy anything. And then there's buyers, conversion. And then there's video watchers. Facebook lets you target these different audiences, if you will. I just say always go after the conversion. It's more expensive. The CPMs are always going to be higher. But because you actually have a platform today that can get someone to do something, that can create intent to take an action, always go for it. So while you want brand awareness, take it to the next level. I want brand awareness and I want them to come to my website, right? Even if it's just a single brand page about you, I want them to schedule a call with me. Don't just settle for brand awareness. There's no reason, not when you have such a powerful platform. Take advantage, again, where God forbid it might go away. Any advice on building a social media brand? I'm a performance marketer. I know nothing of branding, but I will say this. To me, branding is after you buy the product. It's your relationship with the brand after you buy product. Right. So I've been able to see really, again, the power of Facebook and Instagram. You could sell anything regardless of branding. If it's a great product, if it solves a problem, it fills a need, it'll sell. To me, again, I'm a little different. I'm a performance marketer. Branding is what happens after they buy from you. If there is a problem, right? Your customer success, your customer support, that is branding today. That's the true representation of your brand, not your logo. We launched an online casual wear store. Pio Canvas. Okay, our products feature artwork created by young artists. So this looks cool. I'm just taking a look. I'm getting a visual. Oh, this stuff's really cool. I love this stuff. Okay. And okay. Created by young artists, essentially positioning our brand as a wearable art. Is there a rule of thumb how much we should budget on Facebook and Instagram per week to create awareness, to drive traffic? Again, this is not about creating awareness. This is not about driving traffic. You are driving sales. You want to drive conversions. So let's say your average order value is $100. Most people are buying the pants or they're buying 2 hoodies. Let's say that equals $100. How much profit do you have out of that $100? So, right? So let's say it's $30. Then really think about it. You could only spend maybe 10, 15 when you factor in credit card fees, the Shopify website, all these fees, right? How much money left over is for you to acquire a customer and still be profitable? That is your answer. Don't just drive traffic to your site for the sake of driving traffic. When you build out your Facebook ad campaigns, there's something, the first step is going to ask you, what's your objective? Only click conversions. Unless you're like the Lululemon of the world, right? Where everyone already knows you, but I'm sure even they are optimizing for conversions only. I'm a musician. Any tips clever for my new single? You know what? I think a great way for artists. Someone told me a really cool strategy for musicians. It had something to do with Spotify. I'm pretty sure you could drive people to your Spotify link. Right. So if you have your best song, right, maybe the chorus of that song should be like a 15-second video, right? The best hook, the best melody you have that everyone loves, that should be your 15-second ad, and drive them to your Spotify link. How did you get heavy text version of the Good Fair Pastor? So Facebook really doesn't have that 20% text rule anymore. They used to demote it, like it would get less delivery, but it's not so much a problem anymore. Plus, I'm not going to lie, I have good relationships with Facebook. So if I ever do have a great ad and it's being hindered by, honestly, I haven't seen that too much text penalty in like a year or two. It doesn't matter. I haven't seen it. But when I did see it, I would call up my rep and have them push it through, kosher it over, if you will. What if I don't have a rep? Again, I haven't seen that problem in a long time. But yes, that heavy text version to me was horrendous looking. So I'm not surprised it didn't work out. What is the average budget to be most effective? Batches, tests. What is the budget? Again, you're going to want to spend about 3 to 4x your CPA goal, right? And let's say you're testing 4 ads in an ad set, or let's say you're testing 4 ads. You're going to want each, and okay, so let's do some math right now. It's a $100 product, right? You have a $50 CPA. You're willing to spend $50 to acquire a customer, and you have 4 ads in the ad set. I would say you're going to want to, the Facebook algorithm is going to pick a winner fairly quickly, which could be good and bad. If we ever do a part 2, we could get more into the Facebook testing strategy like that. Sometimes it chooses a winner too quickly, meaning it starts, you launch all 4 ads, it spends $10 on each ad, and then one ad just gets the rest of the budget. Usually Facebook is right, but not all the time. So what we do is we take the other 3 ads that got very little delivery that were not winners, and we retest them to the same audience in another container ad set. So with that said, if you're testing 4 ads, and it's a $100 product, you want each ad to get about $20 to $30 of budget. There is something called early indicators, like cost per add to cart. So look at your cost per add to cart, right? And even if your product doesn't have a sale yet, make sure the cost per add to cart, if it has it, is in line with your top performing creative, right? So look at other upper funnel metrics as early indicators. One of the best ones is cost per add to cart. So again, let's say you've launched 4 new ads. You spent about $50 on them. None of them have conversions yet, but like one of them has like a cost per add to cart that's way higher than your top performing creative. Then you might want to pause it if you have limited budget. If you don't, keep it going. But there's, again, you can message me and we could discuss early indicators. They're very important when you have a tight budget. What does your agency charge? So most agencies, Power Digital charges a flat fee or percentage of ad spend. Every business is different. We work with, every business is different. So we are willing, there's 2 types of honest moment. There's 2 types of brands that come to us. Sorry, 3. There's one that we can't help you, right? It's not the right fit. We're only going to really work with brands we know we could could do a great job for. The other is they're not spending a lot, but we love the product and we think it's made for Facebook and Instagram. There's a lot of people today who really reverse engineer products specifically for Facebook and Instagram advertising. So even if they're not spending a lot, but we believe in the product, we'll work with them. And then, kind of the sweet spot for me, right, and specifically very heavy creative testing, are brands that are already spending anywhere from 30 to 50K a month. Over the last 3 months, they've successfully spent 30 to 50K on Facebook advertising and looking for the big unlock, right? They're looking to take their business to $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in profitable ad spend. That's kind of my sweet spot. But we'll talk to everyone, and we'll audit, we'll give you great advice. I do this for everyone, whether you're a client or potential client. I want everyone to do well. How do you track ad post engagement through Instagram or TikTok? How do you see it translates to sales? So there is the Facebook advertising platform that lets you know if someone converted and became a customer. You will see that information in your other, let's say, Google Analytics or any other third-party reporting platform, to make sure. So basically, we're going pretty advanced. It's something called attribution, right? So traditionally, there's different ways of looking at your Facebook data. Everyone who converted within 1 day, everyone after clicking, everyone who's converted within 7 days after clicking. I like to, when I'm looking at Facebook data, right? Specifically, if let's say you're a Facebook business, you're getting all your customers from Facebook, then trust the Facebook reporting because you're not driving customers from any other platform. But if you're very well diversified business, you're a mature business, you're getting sales from Facebook, Instagram, Google search, TikTok, Snapchat, email, everything. Then when you look at your Facebook reporting, you got to look at a 1 day click, meaning I'm only going to give Facebook credit for everyone who got served a Facebook ad, clicked and bought within 24 hours. Because that number is what's going to closely correlate with Google Analytics and other third-party platforms. Every platform, Google, Facebook, TikTok, is going to try to take as most credit as possible. So the best thing you can do is when you look at, they actually allow you to change the view or the attribution of your reporting. Always look at 1 day click. Whenever an agency is going to try to do reporting, just say 1 day click, 1 day click. I just want to see 1 day click. That is the most moment of truth, if you will, right? Again, that's saying everyone who's clicked an ad and purchased within 1 day or 7 day click. Anyone tries to give you reporting with a view or a 1 day view, the biggest fraud in digital advertising is because of view through conversions. Basically, someone seeing an ad but not clicking on it. These platforms can take credit for that. That's where so many false positives come from. My apologies for not even including this in my presentation. But yes, stay away from view through conversions, especially in remarketing. Only look at 1 or 7 day click. Now, the interesting part about the iOS 14 update is Facebook now is only going to report on 1 or 7 day click. So it's now the default, but it just became the default. But also for all your other platforms, whether it's Pinterest, Snapchat, TikTok, always look at a 1 or 7 day click. If your agency's currently reporting, ask them, what's the attribution window? I only want to see 1, 7, or even 28 day click. Great question. On the sheet, which section speaks to testing versus scaling? 1 and 2 are scaling. Message me and I could privately walk you through it and even show it to you in an ad account. Instagram ads. I'm always shocked how few people see or visit my ad versus estimated reach. Yeah, your creative isn't getting them to stop scrolling. That's probably it. You'd be surprised, creative is everything, right? It's how again, the algorithm knows who's likely to buy your product. If it's a good product, right? If the algorithm can't fix a bad product. But if it's a great product, usually the 99% of the time when I'm auditing ad accounts today, while I still do see people not properly set up the campaigns, their creatives are horrendous. 3% conversion for e-commerce. So for e-commerce, the typical benchmark of landing page visitors, you should be converting at least 3% of the people that come to your website. Some verticals are much, much higher, right? But there's 2 types of conversion rates, specifically for Facebook and Instagram. There's those who've been served your ad, click, and buy, right? And those who've clicked, came to your website, right? What we call landing page visitors and purchases, that's always going to be a lot higher. So you want to look at both. Again, you want to look at people who were served your ad all the way to purchase and those who came to your website to purchase. And when you're looking at your analytics within Facebook, finding the ads that have the best metrics there. Can you discuss pros and cons of paid influencers? Oh, great one. Great one. Okay. I use influencers for footage, right? So, sorry, there's two types of influencers. There are those who actually have a huge following, specifically within your vertical, and actually them presenting your product will drive sales. I never really worked with that. I don't care who they are, how many followers they have. I want someone who's great on camera, who loves the product and will create footage for me. So let's say they only have 5,000 followers. You could give them free product, or if they're really great at creating content, pay them a few bucks. If you've seen them do a great video for someone else, that's all that matters, right? Let's say they're charging you just $100 or $200 to shoot a great unboxing video. Make sure you have permission to take that content and use it in Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so here, let's take a step back. Influencer best practices, right? Make sure you have the rights to take their footage and edit it and run it through Facebook and Instagram. And what's really working great is using that influencer's handle. You can actually use, so let's say you're selling cycling jerseys, right? And imagine I'm not, but I'm a huge cycling influencer. I have 1 million followers, right? I'm a local legend, whatever it is. What you can do is I can take my Facebook and Instagram handle and I can connect it to your Facebook and Instagram account, and you can run your ads with my handle. So it's like third-party authority. This is doing phenomenal in paid social. So if you are going to work for an influencer, you are going to pay them and make sure you have permission to, you own the content, you get to edit it and use it on your Facebook ad account, and you get to use their handle. Can you give an example of a great hook for service? Can you give a great example? I have a few. Again, just focus on that problem in the first 3 seconds, and be harsh. Don't be mean, but be harsh. Fashion and apparel. Again, I think when it comes to fashion and apparel, you do want to use influencer content, right? Just make sure the product is a hero, and that's what they're selling, right? Which part? If they're wearing a wonderful outfit, right, and you're selling earrings, make sure that everyone knows within the creative that you're selling the earrings. Otherwise, people are going to think you're selling a dress. Also, make sure you get to use their handle to run your ads. I think running your ads through influencer handles works best probably in fashion. Sorry, do you know someone you can recommend who creates ads specifically for fine artists? My apologies. I wish. Message me and I can understand a little bit more of what you're looking for, and I'll put you in touch. Do you have an example of video ads for more luxury brands? So this is one of my favorite topics. Luxury brands, specifically beauty. That's all about blending, right? Your brand aesthetic, that luxury aesthetic, with direct response. And honestly, it's a challenge. It's something that I'm working on and always working on with brands. Let me see. Let me go to I have another playbook. Let me find an example. But everyone always has their own idea of what luxury is. Huh? Let me, because it's a tough one. Honestly, that luxury aesthetic, I tell people, don't compare yourself to Chanel. Chanel's, it's a league that no one else is in. So your creative will have to have, my best advice for luxury brands to be successful on Facebook and Instagram is have that UGC feel, that user-generated content. Just make sure it's very elevated. But give me 1 second to find it. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. So I don't know, again, everyone's version of luxury is different, but this is for Koyo. They make the best men's white sneakers, as you know. So right here, this is what we did for Now, I don't know if someone would consider that luxury, but it is like a more aesthetically, more thoughtfully drawn out type of video. And here for the service industry one, this is more of a TikTok example, but I don't know if you guys, how many of you guys here are on TikTok or enjoy TikTok, but this type of handwritten explainer video works very well.
This is Bob. In 2020, Bob decides to start a side hustle and opens up his very own accounting practice. But before he takes on Karen as his first client, he sets aside 10 minutes, pulls out his cell phone, and opens up an errors and omissions.
I know you're thinking that this is how people love to digest content today. I love it. I've learned so much of people creating these drawings and stuff like that. So I like to use something like that for service industry. I think I might have another service ad that's more explainer. Product demo. Thumb stopping grids. Look at that. That's awesome. Here's an example of using like Good American, which is the jean company owned by one of the Kardashians. I don't know the difference. We use like obviously Melissa George is a major influence or actress, whatever it is, but very successful running. So this is a great way. I know Good American is not a luxury company, but this is a great way of taking a lifestyle photo and UGC and combining them.
Hi lovers. So I have Good American jeans on once again, which I know you guys all love, and you love when I show you the styles. I have their button flies on today because
probably one of the best formats ever. So again, you know, my advice to all these luxury, I'm not an expert in luxury brands, and it's got to have that formula. It's got to have that direct performance that sometimes takes away from that luxury feel, that look, or that pride, if you will. You got to play ball with the Facebook and Instagram platform. You know what I mean? It's got to have that. Honestly, for me, I actually, it's the opposite direction. I think the more horrible the lighting, the messier the bed, the unmade bed, just it resonates with people. But I also get it, it's off brand. So my biggest battle are with the partners I work with is finding that balance. But that's a great relationship that you want to have with your partner, your agency. They are focused on performance, you're focused on brand, and you meet in the middle. Where did my question thingy go? Let me find it. Okay, sorry guys, I lost my Q&A. Here we go. Okay. For pre-seed company, small biz, can you please share agencies you'd recommend addition in your own? Privately message me. Of course, Power Digital is the best, but I do have a few others that I'm very proud to recommend. That are really great at specifically founder-to-founder relationships. I know a lot of people want that founder-to-founder relationship with an agency, and I have a few for that. But of course, I love Power. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to share the playbook, right? I could give you a nice portion of my presentation, but I'm not allowed to share my playbook. Just company rules. Sorry, if I could, I would, but that's like our biggest IP. That's where all our sweat and tears go into. But I'm happy you can email me on the side, and I could always tell you which Facebook ad libraries to look at. Again, you can look up any company's creatives. Just Google Facebook ad library. You type in the brand, and it'll show you which ads are running. So, right. So what is your research process for getting new ideas for content? So this is what makes Power Digital so special, and anyone you work with, make sure they have access to a fire hose of data-driven creative. So the way it works at Power Digital in particular is, I don't know, we have like 30 content creators all in-house. And right, when you have 30 people, there's going to be creativity. People are going to be able to come up with new ideas. So all these content creators are working very closely with people like me, the media buyers who are inside the ad account. And every morning when we see a creative working well, you know, we share it, we talk to them, hey, this ad's doing well. And you just come up with ideas. Oh, what if we move this around? What if we talk about this? And then if it works, then we throw it on the company Slack channel, and then we all study it. And then we all the media buyers and all the content creators look at that new winning creative, and then we test it for the accounts that we're managing. And if it works for multiple accounts, it gets thrown onto the top performers playbook. So it's a collective, it's just conversations. It's just talking. It's also hiring in-house. I think the best skill you could look for is someone who seeks knowledge, right? Someone who is going to, you know, make friends with others in the media buying or creative industry and ask, hey, which creatives are working for you? Oh, you're the creative at this business, this startup that's doing really well. Hey, do you mind? I'll show you, I'll share some of my data. If you share some of yours, it happens. But that's what you want, because the sharing of knowledge, the mind share is everything. You mentioned uploading emails to create a lookalike. I've never seen the option to upload emails. And oh, wow. Just right over here. Oh, okay. So actually, I thought I was sharing my screen. Actually, I can't share that. So within Facebook Ad Manager, you're going to see the hamburger on the upper left, the menu, and then you're going to see audiences. Scroll down, there's a lot. You'll see it's called audiences. Click it, and that's the section where you could create all your audiences. And I believe it's still called custom audiences. Also, you can just Google custom audiences, and I think the article will link to your business manager on where to do it. Yeah, you just go to audiences and then click create audiences, and it's going to give you a bunch of options to create audiences there. I have a video ad for my brand on Facebook. I say I have 5,1 people reached. You reached 5,000 people and 893 engagement, and no signups. Are you optimizing for conversions? Angela Flori, see if you're optimizing for conversion. How much did you spend? You've reached 5,000 people, which is interesting because usually that's enough people to start making data-driven decisions. Like another good way to understand if you should pause an ad or not is after 5,000 or 7,500 people reached. So I don't know how much you spent on that, but just make sure you're optimizing for conversions. And if you didn't, and if you are, maybe it's just a bad creative. It could be the landing page. I don't know if you could message me. Maybe I could look it up. If you want to throw in another question and somehow we could upvote it to the top and we'll look at it together. So you work with Melissa George? I don't. When it comes to getting those handles, the client takes care of those relationships. It's something that Power Digital does do, but I think for a lot of larger brands today, they take care of their influencers. So powerful to a brand like that. It's a department today. Just like social media now is a department in every company, so is influencers, having someone there to manage those influencer relationships. Can you use Cameo for an ad? Yeah, absolutely. If you have permission, that's a great one. Also, services to get great footage. B-roll is a good one. Just you have to have a great script. So right now what you have is I think the word is cottage industry. You have these websites, these services popping up to provide you with footage. You send in the product and then someone creates a video for you. These are very effective. However, in order for you to be awesome at it, you got to write an amazing script, right? So really focus there. You could just Google script writing, how to write a great script for paid social. You have to provide that to that content creator. Yeah, absolutely. That's your main responsibility. They're never going to do as good of a job as you. When using one of those third-party services like B-roll, there is no iteration. They are not looking at your ad account. That's what happens when you work with someone like Power Digital. We do the production, we do the editing, and when your ad account, we're optimizing. We're doing everything for you. But if you don't have the funds, if you're just starting out, there are those third-party services like B-roll. Heartbeats is a great influencer marketing agency that you could get great footage at. But really, you want to maximize it, you got to provide great scripts to those influencers or those content creators. That's your responsibility. Okay, I think the question that is most upvoted about the jewelry business with 200 followers. Oh, I didn't know. I didn't see anything about jewelry. Jewelry is phenomenal. I'm amazed at how many successful jewelry businesses there are on Facebook and Instagram. Every day I learn of a new one. I think the question that is most upvoted about the jewelry business with 200 followers hasn't been answered, even though it says it was, unless I missed. I don't know what the question was. I would love to answer it. I think costume jewelry is fascinating on Facebook and Instagram. Absolutely fascinating. Do you use leads ads for clients who want lead gen? I think whoever asked that question, Facebook has the option to optimize for leads, and they just launched a new version. Okay, so traditionally, Facebook has a separate ad unit for leads. So basically, it serves an ad, and if a person wants to submit their information, they hit the submit button, and because Facebook already has your phone number and email, it auto-populates this, right? So I've tested that out years ago. It was very low quality because the algorithm is focusing on volume, not quality. Right? It's going after quantity, not quality. It's funny. I got an email today that they actually updated it, and that lead ad format is now focused on quality. I don't trust it yet. I think when it comes to lead gen, send them to your website and have them fill out the lead form, right? That's how you're really going to qualify your visitor, versus so many people could opt in and never want to follow up. If you have one-on-one meeting, could you help with branding for entertainers and content creators? I know nothing of branding. I know when there's a brand that gets me in and why it got me in, but I'm not a branding person. Again, to me, like I said, branding is after someone buys your product, your relationship with them. But I don't even know anyone who does branding. I'm sorry. I'm all performance. I'm a new brand and I start with Square or Shopify. I'm a Shopify fanboy. I'm sure Square is really good. When it comes to scaling, the future, Shopify is just really incredible company. Comments on, I mentioned Amazon's phenomenal. Absolutely. I think to me, the modern day trifecta of a brand is wholesale, being successful, wholesaling your product wholesale, being successful on Amazon, and having Shopify, having your website, your D2C. What a lot of brands are doing is, listen, sometimes you have to be on Amazon, but the way to differentiate yourself is have products that you only sell on D2C on your Shopify website. So an example is a lot of beverage companies will sell on Amazon and they'll sell on their website, but they'll only sell certain flavors on their website that you cannot get on Amazon. And because they want that relationship with the customer, they want that user data, they want that higher margin. What would you say that broad audience is literally? Would you say that a broad audience is literally what it is? An ad that doesn't target it doesn't, yes, but you want to still exclude website visitors and customers. So yeah, just going broad. But the algorithm is still learning from your pixel, right? Even when you're not going broad, it's still learning everyone that comes to your website, everyone who adds to cart, everyone who purchases, it's still learning. It's still going after trying to find more of the people who are buying and adding to cart. Best social media account for up and coming fashion business to advertise. Best social media account. As much as I love fashion, you know what? I'm going to be honest. The fashion in America for men is just horrendous. I wouldn't know. I know my fiance loves Passe for women, and something Rio Farm. She shows me all the time, and those look amazing. Hope I pronounced that correctly. Oh, looks like no, we're out of time.
Well, you can answer one more question, and then we have to wrap.
All right. B2B person, that's a separate conversation, but Facebook works amazing for B2B. What is the best ad strategy for digital subscriptions? I don't know that one. Subscription boxes are great. Know your math. Again, you really got to know your math. Really don't, in the beginning of the conversation, really know your CAC to LTV ratio and be honest with yourself from the very, very beginning. Gross profit or net margin, look at your contribution margin. Gloria Ware, I might have answered that. All right, that's it.
All right.
Thank you.
This was amazing. Thank you so much, Jake, for this amazing session. And again, a special thank you and shout out to our co-sponsors, Parsons Continuing and Professional Education. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We love the energy, and we hope that you will use the tool that you got here today and Jake's advice to apply it to your own strategy. If you want time with Jake to talk through your strategy or to get tips on some of the guidelines or strategies he gave today, we encourage you to book a mentoring session with him. This information is in the chat box. If you enter the code Instagram, you'll get 20% off of a session with Jake, and that offer ends on Saturday, May 8th at 11:59 p.m. Again, thank you for coming, and we look forward to seeing you again at future Parsons Entrepreneur Academy events. You can find a link to our website and join our network so you can hear more about these events. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.